Let's talk about you guys, the Locked On Spurs fans. What are y'all talking about on the YouTube page? And then ask, is Wemby already a top 10 player?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Hope everybody's having a great work week, and we'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. As always, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. Let's see what else. Spotify, iTunes. Yeah, whatever you're listening to, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs, again, your first stop for all things silver and black. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Hey, what are we talking about today? Well, first we'll be talking with you guys, Locked On Spurs fans. What are y'all talking about on the YouTube page? Then bring in our guest, Casey Viera of Ken's 5, my colleague out there. We're going to be asking if Wemby is already a top 5, top 10, top 15 player in the NBA. Just a quick heads up, though. Again, as y'all know, Wemby, I'm thinking about Wemby right now. Casey is, dad duty, so he can only do audio, so it'll be an audio portion. But to round out the show, we're going to be showing off a video that he and I did recently talking about Wemby, Joker, and what the Spurs should be focused on to wrap up the season. It's a video portion that's at the end of the show. But first, what are you guys talking about at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page? Shocker. All about Wemby and DPOY. Yeah, that's been kind of like a big topic right now with Spurs fans, or just across the NBA, because Wemby is putting up major defensive numbers where arguably he could be named the DPOY for this season. So what are y'all talking about? It's about that. Now, the first comment is from Mari Goldblatt. He says, Rudy Gobert sucks. If Wemby wasn't a rookie, they wouldn't blink an eye. I agree with you, Mari. I think Wemby does, should get it, but I don't think it has anything to do with him being a rookie. I think it has to do with the Spurs record and what they are defensively as a whole, which is one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Now, Wemby, individually, he's a good defensive player. The numbers back it up, the blocks, the steals, leads the leagues in block. You get where I'm going at. But it's unfortunate that the Spurs have a poor record and a poorly rated defense. Last I checked, is defensive player of the year, not defensive team of the year. And I think if the voters keep that in mind, he should win, but I think they're going to factor in the team aspect of it. So you're right. Unfortunately, that's just the way it's going to go. Good news is that Wemby does feel like he'll get it next season if he isn't named it this year and beyond. He joked that he told Rudy, or he sent out a Rudy Gobert a warning saying, hey, you win it this year, great, but it's mine, moving on. But you're right. So again, Amari, I don't think it has anything to do with him being a rookie. I think it's just him being on a poor team record-wise and then a poor defensive team collectively. I think that's what's going to actually end up hurting them in the long run. The next comment is from Jacob Eric. He says, ping pong balls, and then ping pong balls. Now, what is he talking about? What the Spurs should be focusing on for the rest of the season, and that is draft lottery positioning. Yeah, at this point, Jacob, I agree with you. I think there's nothing for the team to be playing for in the short term, in the immediate future, that being the rest of the season. There's no playoffs, there's no play-in, there's nothing. What they do have ahead of them is the future, and part of that future is the NBA draft 2024. So although they're not going to outright say they're tanking or put the T word out there, but yeah, I think that should be on their mind right now, moving forward to round out the season, heading to the preseason, landing on the top pick, top 3, top 10, top 7. Right now, I think the worst they can do is land at 7, but they do have percentage points wise a good shot at landing number 1. I think as of this recording, it's almost as equal as last season when they won the Wemby sweepstakes. So, yeah, I think that should be something that's really focused right now is draft. Because, look, although it's a poor draft, talent-wise, according to the experts, the Spurs could still use a higher pick to parlay that into trading out of the draft for a good haul, trading down for a good haul, keeping it if some player explodes on the scene during March Madness or overseas. So they have options. But I'm right there with you. I think looking at the future, ping pong ball, lottery odds have to be at top of their list. Thank you, Jacob Eric, for that topic and question. Hey, we're done with that. Coming up next, we're going to go ahead and bring in Casey Viera. Again, audio portion only, but there's a video element to conclude the show with me and Casey. And right now we're going to be discussing if Wemby is the top 10, top 5, top 15, top 20. Where does he land right now in his rookie season? And then check out the video element he and I did recently right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk about Nissan. Look, you got to go to Nissan right now, everybody. Look, if you're the type of driver that likes to push things a little further, ever wonder what adventure could be like just around the corner, our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. All right, so what about the 2024 Nissan Pathfinder? It has room up to 8 and expansive cargo capacity, advanced available 4x4 capability with 284 horsepower and up to 6,000 pounds of towing. When adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. What about the 2024 Nissan Armada? That will change what you expect from a full-size SUV. Picture a rugged 4x4 that can seat up to 8 in first-class luxury and style. Tow bigger and explore further with the 2024 Armada. That's where you got to go to Nissan right now. Go check it out. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, Nissan Armada, whichever one. Win, 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 win in my book, and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Hey, I also want to talk to you about FanDuel. You got to check out FanDuel right now, everybody. Look, say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of March Madness tournament. March Madness is here. Want to have some fun with FanDuel? You got to go get it downloaded right now. It's time. It's the time what college basketball sports fans have been looking forward to. FanDuel will have you having more fun with it by downloading their app right now. So whether you're big on betting on the big upset or the number one seed, look, it's time to go dancing on America's number one sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 if you to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. You got to go visit FanDuel right now. I'll tell you how to get there. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're now joined by my colleague at Ken's 5. He is Casey Viera. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. He is the weekend anchor on the sports desk for Ken's 5. Casey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. By the way, how's dad life been treating you?
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful / fatiguing thing, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
So I know you recently went to a wedding and you celebrated, and you had told me we're at a game recently, or no, we're at Ken's. We'll talk about that in a while.
Yeah.
You're like, I haven't been out in a while. Did you and your wife do the mom dad thing? Like, okay, looking at the clock. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta take off early.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. While keeping an eye on our baby cameras and all the bells and whistles back home the whole time. Yes, all those cliches, we did do that.
Well, I asked because you had said that you had a pretty much a fun quote unquote night. So you must have crammed like all that pent up partying in just one explosive outburst, you and your wife.
Maybe not as dramatic as you made that sound, but yes, that's correct.
Follow him on everybody at Casey_Viera. Now, Casey and I are going to be discussing right now if Wemby is, already in his rookie season, a top 10, top 5 player. We'll see where Casey ranks him. And then later on the show, we're going to play a video for you all with me and Casey discussing the Spurs, Wemby, and so much more. Casey will set that up for us in just a few seconds. It was his segment, so he'll let us know what's doing there. But first, Casey, Mr. Wembanyama is wrapping up his rookie season. Just a little over 10 more games. That's it, huh? Wow, it's already over.
I know.
And he's established himself as a force already in the NBA. Yeah, Kyrie Irving. Yeah, Kyrie Irving showering him praise after the Dallas Mavericks beat San Antonio recently. He's breaking records left and right. Most blocks in for a rookie. He's up there with Tim Duncan and David Robinson and among franchise leaders and breaking records already just for the Spurs alone. So much more. Candidate for DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, there's no doubt this guy is going to be making an imprint on the NBA. But in just his rookie season, Casey Viera, where does he rank among the top players right now in your top 10? Dare I say top 5? Where does he land?
No, and no.
No and no. Wow. Okay.
No and no. To start you off right there. All right. So what I did, and this is ranked in no particular order. This is just immediate players I took right off the bat by way of the standings right now, and I looked at every team and their best player, and I said, would I take the best player on that team right now, presently, not talking 6 years down the road before someone's like, oh yeah, you would take such and such over him. No, this is down the road. This is not down the road. This is currently. This is the present. So in the present, my list of guys that I would take right now over him, I counted 18.
Oh wow! Okay.
I only counted. I only got 18. So going right down the list again. This was just based off standings. No, yeah, okay. So I got Tatum, Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jokic, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi, Luka, Kyrie, KD, Booker, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Curry. Those were the 18 off the jump that I was like, okay. So then after that, I pulled about another group of, I think this is 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So 11 guys that I threw him in here. That list that would probably requires more debate and rationalization that I think is more of a conversation than the previous bunch. And so I ended up with John Morant, Jaylen Brown, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton, Bam Adebayo, Trae Young, Karl Anthony Towns, Zion, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. So worst case scenario, if you want to say all the guys I just mentioned are better than him, depending on which way the wind blows or what's the trendy thing to say, worst case scenario, I think I would have Wemby at 29.
29.
29. Worst case scenario. But I think if I look at that list and not doing too much analytics of it, I think I have him right cracking the top 25.
Yeah, I looked at that second set of names you gave after your 18. There, I could see debate. There, Trae Young. Yeesh, I may push Wemby over that. Atlanta.
Right.
I think you put Paul George in there as well.
I put Paul George in my list ahead of Wemby.
Ahead of him, so the 18, right?
Yeah, he was part of the first list, correct?
Okay. Well, I think he's pushing top 20 right now.
Yeah.
Now, I think he's going to vault, obviously, crossing fingers next season, and talk about a leap if he does. I mean, can you imagine a Wemby leap in development? Like how much? My goodness, think about that. Look what he's doing right now, and imagine next season.
Yeah, and then okay, so even look at the list of guys that I have ahead of him right now. So I say it's figuratively. I'm just looking at of the 18 guys I had ahead of him, and just from a pure age standpoint, you have Curry getting up there, LeBron getting up there, KD getting up there. He's going to pass Kyrie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You have Kawhi getting up there, Paul George, Jimmy Butler getting up there. So what did I say? What was that? Just like 7 players alone?
Mm-hmm.
That in all likelihood he has potential to hop?
Yeah.
Theoretically,
yeah. I mean, no. I think what he's doing
in all likelihood. Yeah.
What he's doing right now, if you extrapolate that and project that out, man, was it too much of a leap for me to say next season top 15, flirting with top 10?
I would say a top 15 reasonable, just reasonable at the end of the season. I would say so. Yeah.
No, obviously, depending on what the Spurs do in the offseason to build a better team around him. Imagine if they had better defensive guys on their roster right now with him.
Well, and I think that's what, when you get to that second, at least for me, a big part of putting certain guys over him in that second group, in my opinion, is the win-loss. Because for as all the good things he's doing right now, fact of the matter is it's not impacting the winning of this team.
Mm-hmm.
And while the teammates play a part of it, it's not impacting the success of the team. The team is terrible. They're bad. Most of it is extenuating circumstances. But I'm just saying, for splitting hairs, for splitting fine lines, I did put that, stock into it.
Yeah, because if they build a power team around him starting this offseason, you can see his numbers just explode. Imagine him not having to do too much work defensively. He has a solid perimeter defender, that doesn't have to gamble too much, that lessens the load. Perhaps another quality big, like in the vein of a Brook Lopez, next to him. I mean, wow, the Spurs have the ability to do that. We all know what they're sitting on in their pocket right now, from picks to money to current players. They can make that happen, which I think is probably right now, Casey. This roster is a big reason why they'll likely come short of the DPOY, because even though it says defensive P for player, it doesn't say defensive T for team of the year, but it's going to be hard for the voters to say, yeah, let's give it to this guy who's playing for one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. I get
especially when the competition is potentially on the best defensive player on the best defensive team in the NBA.
Right.
Exactly. Has a good chance in Minnesota being the best team in the Western Conference on top of that. But that's, at the same time, that's another thing. And one of our colleagues over there at Ken 5, he's on the news side, but Phil Anaya, he big Spurs fan. And he's been, and it is a reasonable debate. A reasonable debate is, at what point do the numbers outweigh the win-loss? Because Wemby's numbers, they're going to favor him, comparatively speaking, to Rudy Gobert. But traditionally, that Defensive Player of the Year award, the win-loss record does play a part in it.
Right.
And when the team is as bad as they are this year, the Spurs, I think if the Spurs were finished the year 35-40 win team, this isn't even a conversation. Wemby wins the Defensive Player of the Year. It's just that they're so terrible.
Yeah.
How good does he have to be in order to fill that gap? And where does he level off with Gobert that you could say it's a real conversation for that award? And I tell you what, I mean, it's getting close. In my opinion, it's getting close. I'm one of the people that puts a lot of stock into the win-loss result, especially when the losing has been quite strong. But it's getting close. Yeah.
I also look at this too. Wemby and the chase for the DPOY. He's not the most recent Spur to get impacted by the Spurs' bad record. Recall DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray was playing at a near all-star level, like borderline, and Popovich himself came out after a game a couple seasons ago when DeJounte obviously was still a Spur, saying, yeah, our record is hurting him right now, making an all-star squad. If you ask Pop this season, the same thing, although he downplayed it recently, saying, oh, we don't focus on that stuff. But you do, Pop, because you talked about it a few years ago with DeJounte in the all-star game. But if they had a better record, I'm pretty sure, like you said, signed, sealed, delivered, he's likely is the DPOY. But as far as him cracking, top 10, top 15 next season, I think you can almost pencil that in. But as far as this season is concerned, man,
where did you have him?
I have him in right out of the top 15, like around 17, 18, around there.
Okay, so we're not that far off.
Yeah, not that far off. No, because there's a lot of power players right now. Look at Luka. He had triple double, but you go back and you look at that how he played in that fourth period. Wemby had not a non-Wemby night. So you look at Joel Embiid. I mean, didn't he put a string of 40-something games 40+ point games in a row? Something ridiculous before he got hurt.
I mean, he put 70 on Wemby's head.
Yeah, he dropped 70 on Wemby. And then there's Ant, the good Ant's doing right now in Minnesota. I mean, seriously, you had Michael Jordan come out and say that Ant is the closest player that he's seen that kind of resembles his play during the NBA, and that's high praise. So, there's a couple of names like I would push him above right now. I would, especially I don't know. See, for Ja Morant, that I think I would push him above Ja Morant if Morant was playing, had a full season this year. I think.
So you're saying even with Ja playing, you would put him above Ja Morant?
I put him with Ja Morant just because, just for me, it's those defensive numbers that are just insane. Insane.
Yeah, I'm with that. I had Ja in that pool of TB argued TBAs to be discussed. That.
Do you think, man? How long do you think it'll take for him to be top 5? A couple more seasons, at minimum, or maybe even next season.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, every bar that's been set, he's not only cleared but cleared it with flying colors.
Yeah. I think he's come to near quad dubs this season. Near. He almost had one in Austin. He was I think 3 assists and 3 blocks away, which for Wemby, that's not a problem. For any other player, that's a problem. Like, you mean I got 7 blocks and I got to get 3 more? Wemby's like, okay, just put me back in, for him. That's how it is.
Give me another 5 minutes. I'm good.
Yeah, just give me 5 minutes. I could do it. I think he gets a quad dub as soon as next season. I think that it happens. I'm surprised it actually hasn't happened already. And
I have no argument that would suggest otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And
no credible argument against that.
I think, man, individually he's going to get better. Now, the only thing I think that could probably have him stumble a bit out of the gates next season is the heavy workload in the summer. He's going to go, as soon as the season's over, he's likely going to take a small break, then join Team France training camp for the Olympics. Then there's the Olympic run, and then there's coming back, and then just a few days off, literally a few weeks off, and then they got to do the training camp. So I think that could probably make him stumble a bit, just wear and tear. But man, top 15 next year. I got him I got him top 15, maybe at number 15 next year. And wouldn't be surprised if by the end of his sophomore season, this guy is just nearly unstoppable.
I mean, he's nearly unstoppable right now.
Yeah,
if we're being honest, he's nearly unstoppable right now. He has these moments. When Wemby struggles, it feels like Wemby. The best way I can describe it is Wemby stopped Wemby. It's not the doing of anything else. When Wemby struggles and he falls into this rut, it doesn't feel like it's a matter of someone slowing him down. It's a matter of him being careless with the basketball. It's a matter of him having poor shot selection on the offensive side of things. I mean, defensively different, but on the offensive side of things, it feels like Wemby beats himself the most.
Yeah,
and that's when
he definitely does.
So when he gets past that, I don't know who is.
Yeah, right now, he is his biggest critic as well as his worst enemy on the court. He turns the ball over a lot. And crucial moments too.
Mm-hmm. No, he's been a turnover machine.
The team.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there's any rational. Yeah, I think even the most irrational of irrational Spurs fans could admit that he's a turnover machine at times.
Yeah, he is. But collectively the team is as well. Vassell spoke about that the other night after Dallas game, saying they forced too much action, careless passing, whatnot. But I just really gotta, a part of me, Casey, is saying that he's probably gonna, that I want to put him in the top 10 next season. Uh, and I don't think anybody would be surprised if he takes
Mm-mm.
that type of massive leap. And if he starts
I,
dominating like
I
that, I
I
think
think
that
one thing you didn't even hit on yet is you talked about guys who can get him the ball. How about guys who can make shots consistently when he has the ball in the paint? And those teams start to collapse on him and bring more attention to him because he's 7'4". We know
Yeah.
he's a good enough passer that he can do these things in the paint to get the ball out. When he has a consistent guy or guys, plural, who can make the three, I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, I think that's what the Spurs probably thought this had in Champagne. Because he had a phenomenal run at the summer league, and then kind of been sputtering this whole season. But look, Spurs, you're gonna have a lot of draft picks. You're gonna have some nice, tempting ones to deal with probably this summer. If imagine if that Toronto pick conveys, and they got their own. I mean, let's talk business, NBA. Okay,
I'll tell you what, man. Part of me almost doesn't, because I've been waiting like the past few weeks to feel better about this draft class. Part of me almost doesn't even want it to convey, so it has a better chance to convey in next year when the draft is better.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because those Atlanta picks are going to be nice next year. Well, not
Yeah.
what I mean. Next
Yeah.
draft. Trae Young comes to San Antonio. Does the addition of Trae Young, help push Wemby into the top 10 players next season?
Certainly top 15.
Top 15, yeah.
Certainly top 15.
I agree with you. That I think, and that's what I'm trying to get at here is that how the Spurs can build a team to help Wemby become a more of a dominant force than more than what he really is. And it's just scary. It's just, you're the rest of the league. Just imagine what he's doing as a rookie, and then multiply that with experience, naturally getting bigger. He's weightlifting a lot more. He was weightlifting after the game versus Dallas. He just pretty much does that a lot. So yeah, the sky's the limit for this kid, and the Spurs can help him reach that sky starting this offseason with the draft, wheeling and dealing, all that cash, picks, players are sitting on. All right, when we get back, we're going to turn the mic over to Casey. He's going to set up a little video me and Casey did together over at the Ken's 5 studio discussing, guess what, everybody, more Wemby, shocker. So we're discussing that and more. That's next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk to you about BetterHelp. This episode show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Look, if you're looking for online therapy, you need to get things off your chest, try being your best with BetterHelp. So give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA and get your way to being your best self. Look, sometimes we all need the opportunity to get something off our chest, big or small. Certain things can really start to get you down. It's important to let that out, especially to someone who is unbiased in your life. What are you doing something right and you want to continue doing that? Well, that's where BetterHelp can come in. Look, if you're just really want to say something, you really feel strong about something, and you've been thinking about getting online therapy a try, that's where BetterHelp comes in. So whether it's big, small, look, sometimes there's bigger things in life than the Spurs, the NBA, your favorite sports team. Sure, the Spurs are having a bad season, but sometimes the real life impacts you tremendously. That's where BetterHelp can come in. So therapy can be different for everyone. Look, some of y'all have big problems, small problems, medium-sized problems, and no matter what it is, you want to give BetterHelp a try. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a look at right now. It's entirely online, designed to be flexible, suited to your schedule. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. Get yourself 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. I also want to talk to you about Muslinger's Drive-Thru Coffee. You want to go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281 to 1604 area. If you need a latte, check. Cold brew, check. Regular coffee, check. What about a caffeine push, like one of their Red Bull infused Lightning Bolt series? Check. What do you want to take it easy? You just want non-caffeinated drinks. They got that too. I recommend the OG OJ. They have dairy alternatives. They even have mini donuts, and they must be going fast because they recently sold out. Yes, They sold out for a complete day. So go there right now, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friendly staff, proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs, and a proud community member of San Antonio. They love serving San Antonio the best coffee drinks out there in this city. Again, Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Find them on social media at Mudslinger SATX, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, X. The list goes on. And who knows, if you pitch them an idea for a new drink, they may name it after you. It happened to me. It could happen to you. So go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now if you're in San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life is too short for a bland coffee. And we're back with my colleague at Ken's 5. He is Casey Viera. He is a sports anchor for the weekend. Follow him on X at Casey_Viera. Speaking of Sports Desk and Ken's and all that good stuff, you and I recently had a chance to meet up at the studio and talk little things about Spurs. And we're going to play some video right now, but why don't you give us a setup?
Yeah, no, that was good. I'm glad you came by. You weren't busy on a Saturday. Well, actually, you were busy on Saturday. Your Saturday night started after you
I left the studio.
Yeah, your Saturday night did in fact happen. I had to go back to work, but so one of the guys that we were talking about on that list that I think, again, the most silver and black of silver and black Spurs fans can acknowledge is better than Victor Wembanyama is Nikola Jokic. And last week, Denver came to Austin, and put a beating on them. But like everything else we've heard so far this year, it is a learning process. So what could Wemby learn from the Joker? That's what we talked about. I don't know if that's a sufficient enough throw, but if it is, you're welcome.
Good throw. It's good enough for Locked On Spurs. Yeah, and also we discussed not only Wemby and Joker, but just all things silver and black. Now it's a quick segment, so just heads up. We gotta, Casey has to fill in a big block. So I was happy to help fill 3 minutes. Well, though, Casey, that was cool.
You did, and we were grateful for that.
Left on the cutting room floor, though, was the revelation that Casey's the only man in the known universe that can handle Wemby.
No, that wasn't it. It was
Joker.
It was something about what was it? I don't know. It was something about Joker.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Either way, Casey can handle either Wemby or Joker. It doesn't matter.
That is not true at all.
I heard you got to meet first step.
Yeah, theirs is meaner.
We also talk about what the Spurs should be doing to wrap up the season and more. Again, it's a quick segment, but I really want to share it with y'all. I believe Casey and I might be doing this more frequently. It all depends on the scheduling, but hopefully we can do this again very, very soon. Casey, let's go ahead and play that video. But before we let you go, follow him on X, everybody, at Casey_Viera. What else are you working on?
What are we working on? We are right about to hit into the lull of the season, or I should say the end of the season. And that would mean that we're just as much trying to dig for content. But I know we do have the Brahmas coming back. So that's going to be something that occupies our time for a little while as well.
We got March Madness, too. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Oh, man, this weekend's about to be a mess because CBS has all the programming. So those weekend nights during March Madness, they get pretty rough. There's a lot of preempted show times, and shows start at, I don't even know, well after midnight. Well, that might be the extreme. But either way, they're late nights for us. No fault of our own.
Absolutely. All right, so make sure to follow Casey on X at Casey_Viera. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. iTunes, to Spotify, the Ken's 5 Plus app, and of course on YouTube. Make sure to be an everydayer and listen to and watch Locked On Spurs. And so don't go anywhere, everybody. We got that video coming up next, but I just want to say thank you, Casey, and thank you for everybody for stopping by this episode. So stay tuned. Up next, it's a quick little 3-minute video me and Casey did discussing your Spurs coming up next.
We respect around these parts. Ken's 5 Spurs insider Jeff Garcia joining us on this Saturday night, hanging out in studio. And it's a learning experience, as we know. I hate to keep throwing out the crutch words like we've heard throughout the season with this Spurs team. And another one last night up in Austin, going down to the Nuggets. But like you alluded to right there, Victor, talking about Jokic and his road travel, which despite the fact that he's now the best player in the league, we can all pretty much say, it was a lot different path to get to the top than Victor, really the ugliest of ways, so to speak. So knowing that they both kind of have their own stories and their own aspirations to get to where they are, of the many things Victor can learn, what do you think is the biggest he can?
I'll give you two quick ones.
Okay, two quick.
Patience.
Patience.
It took took Joker 2 years to get to the postseason, 7 years to get to that first NBA title for Denver. I think that's going to be at top of the list, and the Spurs can speed that up starting this offseason. And then 2, can he get a TD jump shot? can he get a TD jump shot, a TD hook, something like that? Joker has made it very clear he learned his game from TD. I think he should take a page out of Joker's page of Tim Duncan's book to becoming a better player.
It's a lot of reading.
Yeah,
it's a lot of reading.
Well, he loves to read.
That is true.
Yeah, he loves to read.
That's the guy. I think you brought up a good point with the patience aspect of it, because it's going to take a lot. But remember, this was a guy when he came into the league, he was the backup to Jusuf Nurkic. He wasn't the guy. Yeah. And ultimately, time played out the way he did, and here we are, probably looking at the favorite to win the MVP yet again. We're a little less than a month to go before we put a bow on this season. The season ends April 14th, 15 games to be exact. Some of the things the rest of the way are a given, like the gentleman behind me, but a lot of things are not a given with this team on many fronts whatsoever. In your mind, and I say resolve loosely, what is one of the more notable things that the Spurs need to find at least some resolve in through this last 4 or 5 weeks of the season?
Well, I'll give you 2 resolutions.
2 more resolutions.
I'll give you 2 more. One, learn, look at that roster and who's going to be sticking around for the rebuild. At this point, they got nothing to play for other than the future. Right. So see who's going to be part of the rebuild with Wemby. So guys that are on the fringe, your Zach Collins, your Malachi Brandon, Blake Wesley, the list goes on. And second, resolve to move up them lottery odds a little bit more. I mean, at this point, you're really playing for the draft lottery, draft positioning. So put themselves in a position to get into that top 10. They are going to be in the top 10, but if they can get higher and maybe parlay that into some deal in the offseason, I think they should do that right now. But draft positioning, roster shape up heading into next season.